Debate prediction. Will Kamala and ABC News try to trap Trump? So asks the dipshits over at Glenn Beck's show. This is Stu, as in stew meat, and he and Glenn, I suppose, are just going to talk about their debate prediction about how ABC is going to be unfair to Trump by fact-checking him or some shit.
Tonight.
Yes, it is.
And it is going to be an interesting one. I don't think it can live up to the standards of the last one. I just don't think it can get to that level.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice?
I think so. Well, as long as it doesn't happen in the opposite
fantastic.
direction, yes.
Yes.
It seems like a concern on Stu's part that it is now Donald Trump's shot standing in the face of the Havana syndrome ray.
Mm-hmm. But there is a chance that either one of them.
All right. Is this a camera issue, or is Glenn Beck's hyper oxygenated? Because his face, his skin he's got this kind of wind blown, bug eyed, like his eyes look red. It's not a healthy look.
Could just step on a landmine.
It's very possible, and Are you concerned? What's your concern level? 1 to 10, Glenn Beck concern level going into tonight.
Because it's American politics and the stakes are so high. 1 to 10, 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like morning zoo radio chit chat shit, hardly becoming of an entire network set on being, I guess, political futurists.
I'm kind of there. I don't know if we're there for the same reasons. Because, I mean, the stakes are super high. Yeah. So obviously you're concerned.
Yeah,
but
that's 99% of it.
Right. Yeah. Your concern is not Kamala Harris is an amazing debater.
No.
Right.
No, it's just that, she's going to be doing everything she can just to get under his skin. Mm-hmm. That is literally.
And he has the thinnest skin in the world.
The plan is to get under his skin, make him angry, so he says something.
Yep.
And
and he's stupid enough to fall for it, and that's what you're worried about. You're worried about that the guy you plan on voting for is so unhinged that an insult can wreck his debate. That's what you're worried about. Why would you vote for someone that worries you that way? Why would that person ever register as a human being of quality enough to run a country you allegedly love? Just a thought. That's off the top of my fucking head.
Just hope that he is as good as he was on the last debate.
He sucked in the last debate, dummy. It wasn't about being good. It was about how terrible Biden looked. Trump didn't do anything well. He skated by.
Yes, and as far as knowing.
And by the way, also Stu knows this. Look, you could tell. I don't know where the fuck Glenn is getting this, but Stu is obviously aware that Trump was not good in the last debate at all.
Knowing what the situation is and knowing what's going on.
Yeah,
right? Like it is.
Yes, here's the situation. You're running for president. There's going to be a debate. There are several topics, some of which you want to talk about, others you don't. They're going to bring them up. You don't get to be in control of the questions, like every fucking debate in the history of ever. And partly what people are judging you on is how you respond in the moment and how quickly you can draw up details and make decisions or present your opinions quickly based on a question and make it understandable to the voters that aren't already on your team. That's how debates always work. There's no unknowns in any of this shit. Whether the fucking moderators love you or hate you has zero impact on how well you do in the debate. If you think they're just going to fact check you all the time, why the fuck are you worried about accidentally lying? Here's a good idea. Don't be full of shit.
So a lot of it is about awareness in that moment. And that is probably...
It is. So I'm hoping that Donald Trump is practicing some mindfulness, Stu.
What Trump is best at in these debates. Yes. Like, if you think back to the, you'd be in jail. That moment with Hillary Clinton, like that was him just picking apart the conversation in the moment. He's very
right. He tried that again with Biden said we beat Big Pharma. He meant beat Medicare, and he said you beat it to death, which meant nothing. Also, the you'd be in jail never happened. So in retrospect, it was bullshit. It's one of the problems that people have with him. That moment, where he just felt like, oh, because you'd be in jail about her, is exactly why a lot of supporters of his are like, he was full of shit. He's just like any other politician. He made it up because he never made that happen. He promised he'd throw her in jail. We all said lock her up. He said 100% a bunch of times while we were yelling lock her up. He chanted it a couple of times. But then when he gets in there,
good at that. He's obviously not as skilled at going after policy details. That's not what.
Right. Which, again, Stu, fuck are you talking about? That's a reasonable criticism and support point for somebody who wanted to be president of the United States. He's obviously not good with policy, but he's good on the fly saying insulting shit that goes nowhere. Then why don't you just vote for an open mic comic, you fucking asshole?
What his game is.
I bet it will be tonight. I bet it will be tonight.
I mean,
okay, is Glenn high? What do you think, guys? Is Glenn high? What do you think it is? Painkillers or weed or both? I don't think it's weed. Although his eyes are glazed, so it's hard to tell. What, liquor and painkillers? I'm gonna go. That's what I'm going. Okay, I'm going with gin and oxy something or other. That's what I'm going with. That I think is just judging from when Glenn gets in this kind of a mood. That's what I'm going with. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Colleen, thank you for the super chat. Each gets a pad and pen for notes. He's going to grift off his notes and suit. Oh, maybe so. That's possible. Got my popcorn ready. Excellent. How many bags do you think you need for tonight? Oh, it's going to be a 3 popcorn night. It's going to be get a big bowl and just go for it.
Your plan. What is your?
Thank you, Jenny Faye Muppet.
Plan. What's your plan? Let's talk about details. What's your plan?
Right. Asking about them constantly. Yeah. Like him trying to recite parts of healthcare laws is not a good approach for Donald Trump.
It's not going to be good for her either.
No.
Yeah, it is. She's a prosecutor, dumb fuck. She's dealt with conveying evidence to strangers she has to convince in a life and death situation. Yeah, she is. She's really good at that shit. As a matter of fact, that's what the prep is. Trump's had to have policy reminder sessions. Policy time, they call it.
And she is the reverse of Trump. She's much worse in the moment. She's much worse realizing what's going on. Mm-hmm. The only thing she's going to try to do, I think, in this debate is to make Donald Trump, lure him into either some sort of quote unquote sexist, quote unquote racist moment that he should.
Thanks, Stu. Thanks. Yeah, not a real sexist or racist moment, but a quote unquote one. Yeah, he won't really say something sexist or racist, but it'll kind of sound like that because he takes the bait and he can't stop himself from saying stuff that's sexist and racist on the margins. And what Stu is, it's almost like, you know how some people are like, you build up expectations before a debate or after debate, as you're leading up to a debate, whether they'll do good or you'll do terrible or you'll do great and they'll do terrible or, playing with those. Stu is doing this with his own fucking job because Stu is expecting, as are a lot of Trump fans and Trump fluffers in the right-wing media, they're expecting they're going to have to do some racist or sexist cleanup. That he's going to say, black jobs, the ones poor people do, Now, poor whites do the black jobs too. Like, he'll say something along those lines, and this asshole's already looking down the road to how the fuck am I going to clean up a mess? I don't even know what it's going to be yet, and I just know it. I just know it's got, like, that's what he's talking about. That's what it is. That's what he's worried about. Yeah, there's the Trump fluffers, him, Glenn, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, they're all Trump fluffers. Yeah. And then, all right, here we go.
She can exploit. I mean, you go back to that Mike Pence debate where she said, "Excuse me, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking." And it's like, okay, we know you're speaking.
Look at this. Yeah, Glenn's drunk. Okay. I was half joking about alcohol and painkillers. Now I'm convinced. Look at this motherfucker. Like and it seems like he's like coke drinking, right? Which is not a good sign. Like you're expecting this to go fucking sideways, I guess. Oh, shut up, woman, for saying I'll interrupt you if I want to, woman. That's yes, because Glenn, you're so fucking tough. Jesus Christ. You look like a marshmallow waiting for the stick.
The problem is the words that are coming out of your mouth, right? Like, it's not that you're speaking. If you were saying true things, you wouldn't need to be interrupted. Right. But you're lying constantly. Mm-hmm. But that is the type of moment that they're going to try to get out of this. And
yeah, except the mics are only on if you're speaking. It's not going to come up. But, the idea is that like Trump world is breathing a sigh of relief because she won't get that dunk on him tonight because it won't matter. And by the way, he might talk while her mic is on. You might be able to hear him yammering, right? Just in the studio, but they're going to isolate it. And she's going to need to know during the break from her people that somebody needs to walk up to her and go, okay, when he's talking, we can kind of hear him. Or when he's talking, they have a noise gate on your mic. So no one hears anything. So if you say anything to him, we're not going to be able to tell. That'll be super important after the first break for somebody to let her know if it matters even at that point. But if that's an issue, if he's talking and he's like the whole time and you can actually hear it, there may be a thing of like, you sure you don't want to turn on his mic and we can all just hear whatever he's blathering about, right? That kind of shit. Yeah.
To be clear, the media is going to try to magnify that into something that it's not.
Oh, ABC.
Magnify what? All right, hold on. Back the fuck up. Sorry.
Words that are coming out of your mouth, right? Like, it's not that you're speaking. If you were saying true things, you wouldn't need to be interrupted. Right. But you're lying constantly. Mm-hmm. But that is the type of moment that they're going to try to get out of this. And to be clear, the media is going to try to magnify that into something that it's not.
Oh, ABC.
Okay, so the idea is from Stu is that at some point, Kamala Harris is going to get a zinger or something on Donald Trump. And what the media, whoever the fuck that is going to do and how they're going to respond to it is by blowing it all out of proportion and making poor little Donald Trump, Mr. Grab him by the pussy, look sexist, or Mr. I don't want black people renting in my buildings and I certainly don't want them touching my money. I want the guys with the little hats, making that poor fellow look like a racist. Or a bigot.
He is so bad. So bad. Yeah. Did you see the numbers on ABC?
Unbelievable.
I'm trying to let me see if I can find it real quick. So ABC is absolutely the most biased out of all of them. They are so much more worse. Is that right? More worse. They're worse.
He's hammered.
Than NBC. And that's saying something.
Really?
Yeah. According to a watchdog group.
Yeah, whoever. Just look. Take it from it's a watchdog group. That's all you need to know. According to a watchdog group, not the watchdog group, obviously, one of several watchdog groups. According to them, ABC is worse than MSNBC. What's the standard for that watchdog group? I have no idea. There is no. I guess you have to. Everybody who's involved in that organization has to have a watch and a dog.
The Media Research Center, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. They watch
the Media Research Center. What?
Watch CBS. They tracked CBS, ABC, and NBC.
Hold on. Back the fuck up. The what?
A watchdog group.
The Media Research Center, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
The Media Research Center, I think is what he said.
They watched CBS. They tracked CBS, ABC, and NBC. CBS was actually the most fair and balanced out of the three. I think it had a score in the 70s. And what they scored was, is it balanced? Is there the other side ever being shown? Is the anchor ever giving the benefit of the doubt? Are they saying something positive? Or is it just all negative? On Kamala Harris, it was 100% positive coverage. 100%.
It wasn't 110% positive.
No, you're right. It could have been worse.
It could have been. Well, no, actually.
Worse.
Also, no, it wasn't. I guarantee somebody on ABC ran the whole story about she should be doing interviews. She hasn't been doing interviews. That part alone. She doesn't have her policy positions out on a thing yet. Shit about the they obviously covered stuff about the election. This is nonsense. Bullshit. Just bullshit.
It can't be. That is unbelievable.
So here,
right. Yeah, I agree, Stu. That is unbelievable. You know why? Because it's not believable.
Here it is. No, actually, NBC was best. 71% with NBC.
Jesus Christ. It's so sad when you see somebody. I feel like I'm watching The Rose.
71% positive is the best.
Positive, yeah.
The best number.
The best number is 100%.
No, but I'm saying.
Oh yeah, for
fairness. Yeah, the best one was 71% positive.
71%. Then 94% for CBS. ABC 100%.
And what's the time period on this? They didn't say one negative thing.
Yeah, since she became the candidate.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's over a month.
I know.
50 days now.
Yeah, 100%. Now Trump's negative coverage. 77% on CBS.
Sorry, real quick, Glenn. Can we just throw in positive things like positive coverage of Trump on the Blaze as a network? What do you think? You think it actually lowers the scale on what qualifies under ABC rules?
Yes, 86% on ABC.
Oh my God, these are terrible.
But
also, by the way, it's not, for the record, it is not negative to bring up the fact that he is a 34-time convicted felon. That is not negative coverage. That is just the news. If there's another filing about it, that's not negative coverage either. That does not count as a negative. It does in, I'm sure, how they're doing this, but it shouldn't. It's simply the news. That doesn't have a bias. But just by bringing up the fact that he's a pussy-grabbing scumbag, apparently, playing a clip of Donald Trump saying she would not be the chosen one for me to sexually assault. That by playing that clip, that's considered negative coverage. When it isn't, it is simply showing him being a fucking pig. You can't say that if ABC plays that, they put another negative notch. All they're doing is report. That is, they'd have to say something about it. They'd have to come back vomiting or going, fuck that dude, or, cover it like I do to get a solid, because I earn my negative check marks next to these assholes. I don't just let it slide. I don't put it up there and go, hey, it speaks for itself.
But nobody even came close.
I mean, think about that.
100%.
You have to think about it. Are they this incompetent? How have they ever lost an election? With this environment, how do you lose elections?
Also, real quick, Stu, it might not be that it's the environment. It might be the fact that Trump, by comparison, is that big of a fucking awful, like summed up in total as a human being and as a political force, is such a scumbag that's what creates, quote unquote, the environment that we're in. It didn't exist before him. You understand? This has nothing to do with coverage of Harris or positive stuff about Harris at all. And Trump, under these guys, at its root, the media's in the tank for Kamala Harris, but the biggest piece of news you can take away from this clip is that according to Stu and to Glenn Beck, Donald Trump is not at all responsible for any of the negative coverage he gets. Consider that, if you will. These assholes think that Donald Trump is not responsible for any of his negative coverage, that he is completely innocent, and that means that Stu and Glenn both believe that Donald Trump should be able to grab their mothers, wives, and daughters by the pussy, and because when you're a star, they let you do it. That he should be able to take money from any foreign company through a stack of LLCs, even if it's directly tied to the Russian, to the Kremlin, or the GRU or the CCP. He should be allowed to do that. They are signing off on every shitty thing he does by saying, he has done nothing wrong. That's why they could actually sell this idea that it's somehow an affront to him that he's getting this negative coverage.
Well, I don't know if it's ever been this bad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Brandy, thank you so much.
It's just lies. They've always gotten stories wrong.
Brandy, thank you for the Venmo. That was very sweet. Really appreciate it.
Wrong. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, yeah, that's not the way you frame that story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's the way it used to be. And then some lies. Now it is nonstop. If I hear that very fine people thing one more time.
How many times can they do this?
Oh my gosh. And they just keep getting away with it.
Did you see the one that...
Hey, Glenn, wait. Tell you what, buddy. I'll not bring that one up because I don't bring it up very often, even though I think you're using your head to block the door for him. But we'll let that slide. How about him just saying that if he was going to rape somebody, it wouldn't be her? How about that? Why is that okay with you? Why do you get, I just start kissing. I don't even ask. I can't even stop myself. And you can grab them by the pussy, do whatever you want, because when you're a star, they want you to do it. And if I was going to sexually assault someone, she would not be the chosen one. What about that? How about that? Like, dude, it's what it's kind of like. It's like when these assholes go, it is too soon after this school shooting to politicize what happened. Well, fuck you, dude. I'm politicizing 19 school shootings ago. How about that? I'm not talking about the one that just happened. Just pretend we're talking about the one that happened a year and a half ago. You guys didn't give a fuck about then, or the next one, or the next one. Just pick a random one. What's the timeline? 2 years? 5 years? How about go all the way back to Columbine, you dumb motherfucker? How about that? How about that? Just go back to Columbine and accuse me of politicizing that one. That not enough time has passed. It's the same thing. I don't need to lock in on the fact that he said there were very fine people on both sides of the marchers at Charlotte and the people who were counter protesting, that there were very fine people, like there were people trying to save the Robert E. Lee statue from the fucking Daughters of the Confederacy, and they were down there fanning themselves, going, "It's our heritage," which is exactly what he's fucking talking about a statue that's effectively a chess piece that like defenders of the Confederacy put, like after the Civil War, put up as a like chess piece. Like, we may have lost the chess game, but I'm putting this fucking rook back on the fucking board. Kiss my ass.
They tried on J.D. Vance?
No.
Where they're like, J.D. Vance, quote, "Shootings are just a fact of life."
Oh my gosh.
Are you kidding me?
That's not...
It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he meant. In a society with a bunch of guns... it's the same thing. It lines right up with Trump going, you just got to get over it. You just got to get over it.
What he did, not what he said.
In context, he made a big deal about how horrible this was.
Yep.
Yes, he made a big deal about how horrible it was, and then went, but we're not going to do anything about it. And he's running for a job where what you're going to do about it matters. If he was just a rando fuckhead on the Blaze, you could write it off. But he wants to be the vice president and be like a heartbeat away from the presidency and advise the president, be the last person in the room when the president's making decisions about what to do about school shootings.
What a tragedy this shooting was. And he said, unfortunately, and I don't like this, shootings have become part of life.
Yeah, a fact of life.
And we've got to stop it.
But if you take all the context out and just say fact of life, it looks like...
Whoa. Hang on, Sloopy. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if I can find the... This is the video. Yeah, here we go. Hold on. Fuck you. Get out of here. Go away. Go away. Here you go.
What happened in Georgia is just an awful tragedy. And yes, after holding these folks up in prayer and giving them our sympathies, because that's what people deserve in a time of tragedy, then we have to think about how to make this less common. What is going to solve this problem, and I really do believe this, is look, I don't like this. I don't like to admit this. I don't like that this is a fact of life. But if you are a psycho and you want to make headlines, you realize that our schools are soft targets. And we have got to bolster security at our schools so that a person who walks through the front door...
Yeah, so shootings are a fact of life, and the answer is bolstering security at schools. Not stopping psychos from getting guns.
We've got to bolster security so that if a psycho wants to walk through the front door and kill a bunch of children, they're not able to. And again, as a parent, do I want...
What, you want them to have to crawl through a fucking window?
...my kids' school to have additional security? No, of course I don't. I don't want my kids to go to school in a place where they feel like you've got to have additional security, but that is increasingly the reality that we live in.
Right, asshole. So why is it increasingly the reality that we live in? Because people like him don't want to do shit about guns. Again, most common sense gun regulations would handle this. Red flag laws. That guy who shot up the one in Georgia, they should have been able to take away the guns in the household. They'd already had a visit from the police about the fact that he was making threats. This is just an abdication of control. And by the way, by saying our schools need to beef up security, you're running for federal office, motherfucker. What you're saying then is nothing I can do as vice president or that the president could do about this at all. This is all about local communities. You guys got to hire guards or put, cameras up or some shit. You got to lock these places down. Right? And it goes to that whole point of like, what whenever they talk to a Republican, they're always like, what do we need more in school? What do we need to fix in schools? We need more parental involvement. Okay, that may or may not be true, but can you legislate it? Can you do anything about it? If you're an officer, you're going to write a law that says if you don't help your kid with their homework, you're going to fucking jail, or you get a tax break if you do help them with it, or right? Any of that shit, like the idea is, we're not going to do anything. We're just not going to fucking do anything. Well, then why are you even talking about it? Parental involvement, if you can't make it happen, is not an answer. It's like if you're like running to head the CDC and they're like, what's your solution for Ebola? I just, eventually an asteroid, right? I guess an asteroid hitting us would take care of it, cook it off. Useless.
Like you're just this jerk who wants people to die and doesn't try to hide. Hey, whatever.
Hey, those kids were killed. It's a fact of life. You know what I mean?
Let's build all schools near a mountain so they have high ground for all the assassins. It's like, no, that's not what he said.
Almost that.
It's closer to what he said than what you guys said.
Yeah, and it's like they all know what they're doing. This is the Donald Trump, we're going to have a bloodbath, ... in the economy.
Yeah.
But they just say bloodbath. I mean,
No. He didn't say bloodbath ... in the economy. You added that, you dumb motherfucker. He was saying there's going to be a bloodbath because of immigration that, like, will basically the murders and death from all these immigrants coming across the border will be way worse than, worrying about selling fucking Chinese cars sold in the United States. That's what he fucking meant.
like, this is stuff that is,
right.
They all know what they're doing.
Oh, by the way, remember what I said about the copium that he was basically doing? Like, he's looking down the barrel of cleanup they're going to have to do. They're both aware that at some point tonight, it is very possible that Donald Trump will say something eminently shitty that will eat up a huge chunk of the news cycle because he can't stop himself. Now, instead of saying to themselves, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong to even support or get into a political fight supporting someone who can't control themselves, so much so that I have to worry about doing cleanup for them as a fucking stranger for 2 weeks. Right? Maybe, just maybe, you're throwing your support behind somebody who's so fucking dangerous and stupid that it says less about that person than it does about you, Stu. Glenn, maybe, just fucking maybe, you shouldn't be backing Trump. I don't care if you're voting for Harris at this point, and you can shit all over Democrats, but if you're willing to fucking pelican Trump's balls where he goes, or serve as his own personal diaper with your mouth on his butthole, then for fuck's sake, you cannot lay onto the media that everybody else is attacking him because you will never stop supporting him, which is worse. Because he would sexually assault your daughter or your wife or your mom or your girlfriend or a lady friend of yours or your brother's wife if he thought she was even marginally fucking attractive. And you support that motherfucker.
Doing here. This is not like mistakes. It's not like, oh, this was taken out of context. They are intentionally trying to sink his campaign because they hate him. And I don't know.
Stu. You are intentionally trying to excuse his inexcusable behavior because you want him to win. Or it's your job. You're being paid to say it, because I don't know that if you cornered him and got a couple of drinks in him, if you really said, you think Trump's a good guy? Do you think you'd let him, like coach your daughter's soccer team? You think you'd let him do that? There's no fucking way.
That they love Kamala Harris, honestly. She's just the other thing.
Well, that quote really originated with the Associated Press, and I don't know if you saw this, but the Babylon Bee has put a list together of all the things that the AP has said in the past, and they still stand by it. For instance, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. According to the AP, the only thing we have ... is fear itself.
Okay, these are just joke lines. He's looking at Stu hoping that these are funny. Now, why is Glenn going through a list of like half-assed jokes that maybe the Babylon Bee is making wrote a joke column, he's just stealing jokes, which is entirely possible. But, which is even lamer. But imagine tonight, the stakes are as high as you've said they are. According to Glenn Beck and Stu, especially Glenn though, this is end of the world shit. Like, he's selling prepper level stuff all the fucking time. He's at least presenting to his audience that he believes that this is certainly an America-ending event, if not a world-ending event, this election, right? This is what he's been portraying. And if that were true, if you believe that, would you just be the night of the debate just kind of going, I stole these jokes off a website, I'll just say them to fill some time?
So,
wow.
Neil Armstrong, that's one small ... man. So
it was a height. That was a height speech.
Wayne Gretzky. You
All right, yeah. Again, he's just stealing shit from other people. And again, if you believed, it's so lame, it's fucking cringe. But if you believed anything that he was saying, that you really thought that the election was as meaningful and as dangerous and as important as allegedly they believe, wouldn't you? When you give a little more effort